Welcome to Beyond the Balance, where we redefine wealth and rebuild futures. Because financial freedom isn't just about numbers, it's about making your money work for you, your future, and your freedom. We're here to talk about wealth, growth, and the stories that prove you don't need a perfect balance to make a perfect comeback. All right. Today I'm sitting down with a man who doesn't just talk the talk. He's walked through military service, ministry leadership, and the cybersecurity world, all while co-building a thriving relationship coaching brand that's changing lives. David Kiwimagi is the co-founder of Kiwi Coaching, a platform dedicated to helping couples break through communication blocks, deepen connections, and create powerful partnerships. With a background in the US Navy, church ministry, and cybersecurity, David brings over 15 years of leadership experience from high pressure environments into the deeply personal world of relationship transformation. His work, alongside his wife and business partner, Alexis, has been featured on podcasts, stages, and coaching platforms across the country. Together, they specialize in helping couples not only repair what's broken, but build something truly extraordinary. This isn't your typical love story. It's a real, refined, and intentional mission. So grab your notebook because today we're going beyond romance and into the real work of building relationship that lasts with a man who's made it his life's work.
Wow, I sound awesome in that intro.
Thank you.
I gotta have you do my intros more often. Well, it is a pleasure to be here. I want to thank you for the opportunity to just be a part and share my story.
Yeah, before we begin, that is the first thing I would like to ask you. What was your and Alexis's journey like, and where did you guys really begin?
Well, the truth is, we definitely did not begin where we're at. When we first started in our marriage, especially, we just avoided conflict. We neither one of us liked it. Neither one of us had good examples from before where we grew up. And so, like, when we first got married, my wife, on my birthday, like, we're like brand new married, we're like less than a year here. I asked my wife, and I was like, "Hey, would you make me my favorite meal for my birthday? It's lasagna." What she didn't know is my mom always made it every year. So I'm over here like putting unspoken expectations and pressure on her to make it like my mom made it. She doesn't know that. Well, she did. She took it as a challenge. Now, my wife can cook. Don't get me wrong, like she can cook. Well, she goes out, she gets her grandmother's recipe, and she makes the lasagna. She sets it down in front of me, and like the steam's coming up. Oh, it smelled amazing. My
Mhm.
hopes and dreams, though, they were quickly dashed and smashed to pieces as I dug my fork into that lasagna. It hit something like rubbery, not like a noodle, but like bad rubbery. I lifted the noodles and there were hard boiled eggs in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Reaction too. And I'm like, oh, what is this? I mean, all I could think was, this is not how my mom made it. But I didn't know what to say. I tell her that her lasagna has just committed an unforgivable culinary crime? Or do I just keep quiet like a good husband and eat it? The truth is, I didn't know what to say. I was afraid I'd hurt her feelings, and I was afraid of her reaction. So, to be honest, I just kept quiet, kept silent. I swallowed my pride. I swallowed my thoughts. I swallowed the lasagna, but it didn't taste good. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't taste as good. I didn't eat it anymore. I didn't touch it. But over the years, we encountered lots of opportunities in our business, in the Navy. Yeah, that we encountered a lot where we just disagreed, and one of us just kept silent. We're like, okay, we'll just back off. What really made it come to a head, though, when we decided to start a business together. We're like, yeah, let's do a business. I love you. You'd be like the best coworker. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. But the truth is, oh my gosh, it literally got to the point where our marriage was kind of on the rocks, to be honest with you. We reached a point where the business, I don't know about other couples and other entrepreneurs out there, but the business disagreements turned personal, and the personal disagreements turned business. And it started affecting everything. We actually reached a point where my wife said, we need to get coaching or we're going to both have to quit. because I'd rather keep my marriage than keep this business together.
Mhm.
So I didn't want coaching. I'll be honest with you. I didn't want it. I'm like, I don't want to go sit in therapy. I don't want to go sit in counseling. I don't need that. And
Right.
I also thought we've invested 30 something $1,000 into our business and haven't made that back. And I'm like, how much is coaching going to cost?
Yeah.
But I also knew something had to change. We couldn't continue like we were continuing. We're like, So I said, okay, we shifted our mindset. We shifted our commitment to each other. We said, okay, let's take the training. Let's do the homework sessions. Let's do this. What I didn't realize is coaching is not counseling. Those are two different things.
Mhm.
And so we went through this with a certified coach, and I kid you not, in just a few short weeks, we learned each other's strengths. And I learned there was things about her that I was totally taking advantage of, as well as things about her I was shutting down.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And I've been telling you to sit in the corner. I'm so sorry. And she learned the same things about me. In a few short weeks, everything changed. Now, in our business and in our marriage, like at the very beginning, right? I was so afraid. I didn't know what to say. I know exactly what to say, and I know how to say it in a way that she can receive it. When I was afraid I'd hurt her feelings, now I know exactly how she feels in every situation. I don't have to sit there and guess. I know how she feels because I've learned it through the coaching. And before I was afraid of her reaction. Now I value her reaction. In fact, I only bring lots of stuff to her. And I'm like, what's your gut reaction on this? I need your gut reaction. I need your honesty right here. And it brought so much to us to the point when we got done with that coaching, I'd say about a month after we got done with it, my wife came to me and she said, Kiwi, we we have to share this with people. How many other couples out there have a dream to build a thriving marriage and a thriving business? But it's when they start, it starts to hurt them. We have to share these techniques. We need to share this coaching. And thus, Kiwi Coaching was born. And we have been helping couples since then. And it has been an incredible journey. These techniques that we've learned have literally helped hundreds of couples over the last decade. It has been incredible to be a part of so many stories and journeys. And what I really want to do is just share a couple of those techniques with your listeners today about our story, what changed, and how it made a world of difference for us.
I I've been excited for when was the last time we spoke? Like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I've been excited to hear your story since we last spoke. And have you ever my first question is, did you ever try the lasagna with the egg in it again? Was it
No.
ever made a second time?
It was made a second time, and in the second time, there was broccoli in it. It was made a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time. And
Okay.
by the fifth time, my wife finally was like, you're not going to eat it. I'm not going to make it.
Okay.
My wife, no, don't get me wrong. I always feel bad, especially when she's not here to defend herself. My wife is an amazing cook. So, to give you an example, when she makes enchiladas, she'll make like a 9 by 13 pan. I'll eat the whole thing. Like, it's so good. Her lasagna, though, it ain't winning no cooking contest
I
awards.
I get it. Look, there are some things that my own husband will not let me make, and
Yeah,
that I'm just not gonna make waste my time making it. So that's totally fine.
yeah.
But at least she continued to try. I was just curious. I've never had lasagna with hard-boiled eggs in it
It's
before,
gross.
and I'm okay. I was like, I kind of want to try it just to see, like, what
It
is
won't kill you.
it?
Um,
Won't okay.
but it
Okay.
is
Well,
weird. I'm like, what is in this stuff?
I mean, I guess my thinking is maybe it's because you weren't expecting it that it didn't taste as good as it could have. I don't know. I feel like I want
Well,
to try it.
this actually leads into like one of the other things we learned in the coaching, but my wife made that lasagna and like so she makes enchiladas and then I would
Mhm.
go to work every day and I would take enchiladas with me to work to the point the whole pan would be gone in like a couple days.
Yeah.
Well, she made a big 9 by 13 pan of lasagna. She put it in the fridge. So I get up in the morning and I'm going to work and I'm like, I'm going to pack a lunch. I open the door, there's the lasagna, and I go, I moved the lasagna to the side, and I'm like, ah, carrots, that would be a better lunch. I'm gonna take the carrots to lunch.
Wow. Okay.
I did not touch that lasagna. I had the one slice that she served me, and the rest of the pan went bad because I wouldn't eat it.
All right. I see the point here. Okay. And
Yeah.
being that your wife is not here to defend yourself, we will move on from the lasagna and I will ask you about the techniques that you were mentioning earlier.
Well, on that note, right, and the lasagna, it actually, you got to hear the ending of the story. So for those of
Okay.
you that are listening, stick around. This actually ends really good. Right now, it sounds like she's the bad guy. It wasn't her, trust me. But on that note, something that we were taught in our coaching that changed everything was called what we call his business, her business, and not your business. And
Nice.
so his business, or what we could say is your business, you are responsible for what you think, feel, do, and create. These are things, this has also been described. This is not a new technique that I came up with, right? But this is also called your circle of influence. I can control my own thoughts. I can control what I think. I can control what I do, and I can control what I create. Perfect example. The best way I heard this said was your thoughts become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your character, and your character will define your destiny. So if you want to change the path that you're on right now, what you have to change is how you think about it for now.
Okay.
But with that note, like that's what you can control, right? Here's what you can't control. What's called their business or what we call her business or his business, depending on who's asking, right?
Right.
That's what they think, feel, learn, do, and create. So when my wife saw the empty or the lasagna pan still in there, she got mad at me. And rightly so, right? She's like, I made this for you and you didn't eat it. And she got really frustrated because she was stressing about something that she actually can't control, which was my business, what I do, think, feel, and create. What she did is she created an environment where she could show love to me by making me lasagna, but she's not responsible for my actions in that environment.
Mhm.
This is really true at work. A lot of managers get stressed about, I need to make my people work. I need them to work harder. I need them to work longer hours. I need them to stay late. You can't control any of that, truthfully.
Yeah.
But what you can control, do you create an environment where people feel safe to come in and give their best? Do you
Mhm.
create an environment where people feel valued and loved, or at least can feel valued and loved? You can control what you create. You can't control how they feel and what they do in it. And so when you create that culture, span within your marriage, I can do everything in my power to make my wife feel loved. But if she doesn't feel loved, and then I get all stressed out, like, why'd I try? Whereas if I focus on, did I create an environment where my wife could feel loved with the things that I know that she loves? It's her choice whether to feel that or not. And then last but not least is what we call God's business or not your business. These are things that are outside your control completely. Like we lived in Florida, we have hurricanes.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, nobody can control the hurricane. They just show up, they wreck it, and they leave. Like that's what they do. And if you sit and you stress about things that are in God's hands or outside your control, acts of God, right? All it's going
Mhm.
to do is cause you anxiety. But if you focus on what's inside your circle of influence, what you can control, like I can control that I create an evacuation plan.
Yeah.
I can control that I talk to my family in a way that we all understand what that plan is. So we know and how to act and how to be safe. I can't control the hurricane. And so we explained this to this lady in our coaching program, and she had this like moment. And we were like, you okay? Like, whoa, what just happened? She went, like, most of my anxiety comes because I'm constantly worrying about how my husband feels.
Mm.
Like that's not your responsibility. Are you creating an environment where he can feel safe? If he doesn't feel safe, that's up to him. Are you creating an environment where he can feel loved? Focus on what's in your control and let him handle what's in his. It was really cool. We talked to her like a couple weeks later, and she's like total different lady, completely at peace. She's like, I've been doing this and I've been doing this, and then my husband came to me and he was like, "Wow, I feel really loved by you. I like love coming home to you right now." Because she's no longer stressing about like how are you feeling, how are you feeling, how are you feeling, right? She's focusing on how do I create an environment in a home that I want people to be a part of, including my husband. It was just beautiful. Moments like that are like incredible. And
Yeah.
so when with my wife back at the lasagna thing, she got so stressed about what I was doing and I should have done this. And after 5 tries at the lasagna, she's finally like, I can't make you eat it. I'm not gonna make it. Right? And she's like, I'm done. Had we known that way back when we got married, oh my goodness, the fights we could have avoided, the conversations we could have had.
Yeah, I get that 100%. And I love that you point that out, the his business, her business, not your business thing, because recently my husband and I have been doing so good. And
Good.
I attributed I guess like now that I'm thinking about it, it's literally the same exact thing that you said. We kind of had a breakthrough moment. We were like, oh my gosh, like we just gotta mind our own business sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, this is we're gonna handle our own problems. We're gonna just deal with it our own way, and then we'll come together. And like, I like him so much.
I
Like,
like you better.
yeah, I like seriously. And it's like so interesting because now I feel like we're like two very smart people. And every time we come together, it's like mind boggling, like you're more interesting now that I'm not worried about every single thing that you're
Yeah.
doing. And that's funny. It's so funny to me, but it's real.
No, absolutely. When you learn that you don't have to focus on your spouse and you can focus on you, one of the things too that we learned in our coaching business was to be our best selves.
Mhm.
With counseling, I try to go, what's wrong with you? What do you need to change? What do you need to grow through? We don't do any of that. We don't do any of that. We tell people, what are you already good at and what do you love doing? We do this through getting what's called a Gallup strengths assessment, and we take them through that assessment. And when people realize a lot of times in their whole life they've been told you need to be this way, but they're naturally not that way, we tell people, don't be that way. Focus on being this way, the way you want to be.
Okay.
Because when you focus on who you are, who you were created to be, and the things that you're naturally good at, you
Yeah.
give the best version of yourself to those around you. And just think about it this way, when you show up as your best self for your husband and vice versa, you're going to have the best marriage.
Yeah. And so the assessment you said was the Gallup assessment.
Gallup
Oh,
strengths. Yeah,
Gallup.
that's kind of like the foundation of what we use, and it has been phenomenal. It's
Okay.
it's an incredible assessment. Yeah, I definitely recommend get one. If you get one, I will totally walk you through it. Um,
Okay. Yeah,
that
I would
that
like to.
that said, too, one of the big things we learned was how to turn unspoken expectations into agreements. We all have them. Like I know, I'm just gonna be honest. I've thrown my wife under the bus, right? I gotta throw myself under the bus a little.
Okay.
I had some serious unspoken expectations when we first got married. Like I'd drive home from work and I'd drive up to the driveway, I'd get out of the car, and I'm gonna be honest, I would assume that when I walked through the door, my wife's a stay-at-home mom. She's been that since our son was born. So the house will be clean and dinner would be ready. And I'd walk in and spend some time with my wife and have dinner and play with our son, and I opened the door, and reality hit.
Oh my gosh, kids can turn everything upside down.
Yeah, I'm walking over landmines and toys.
Yeah.
I
And
get
like,
to the kitchen, and I'm assuming dinner, right? No, breakfast is still on the counter. My wife is on the floor with a baby strapped to her chest, and so I asked the husband question, which is the best question us husbands can ask.
of course.
What'd you do all day? Well, you can just guess how that went, right? And
Terribly,
a
probably.
lot of I had unspoken expectations. I wanted the lasagna good. I wanted the house clean. I didn't say they were right all the time, but we have them. Everybody has them. And so
Yeah,
we learned how to turn unspoken expectations into agreements. Because unspoken expectations, when they're not met, they become like seeds of resentment that can grow like weeds in the garden of your marriage.
absolutely.
And if they're not dealt with, they can turn into like trees, like really big problems. And so here's what I recommend. This is what we were taught, and it works. It's amazing. I highly recommend doing this with food, just because food is awesome. So
Yes,
get
it
your
is.
favorite snackies, get your spouse, and you're gonna get 3 pieces of paper. On the top of each page, you'll write your name, your spouse's name, so mine, yours, and then you write ours on that third piece of paper.
Okay.
Now we have found that it helps to kind of pick a category for this, or else you end up with like a really long list of paper. So like for us, we'll take business, where the subject is business. In business, what are my responsibilities? What expectations do I have that I will handle? And of course, I fill those out on my piece of paper. Now, you and your spouse have 2 separate pieces of paper, and while you're doing this exercise, no cheating, no looking at each other's. You will share in a minute, right? It's like grade school. And then on your spouse's piece of paper, you write down what you expect them to do. And then on the third piece of paper, if there's something like me and my wife, I handle a lot of the ads, but we like to create them together, right? So we'll write that on there. I recommend doing this with the business and doing this with like the house. We also homeschool our kids. So we do it with the homeschooling, right? It's like 3 different meetings. You can do it all at once, but just be aware your lists get kind of long. So if you're like us and you have kids and you don't have a lot of time, or you get date nights on occasion, right? Just stick to one thing. Pick the one that's causing the most contention. When you're done, you're going to switch pieces of paper and compare notes. Now, if you've
Mm.
been married a while, you'll have probably quite a bit that matches because you've already kind of agreed on things. If you're new to this, you're probably going to find there's a lot like, hey, all this stuff is on my page and I wrote it on your page. But
Okay.
here's the key: you are outside of the moment where that expectation was not met. And this is
Mm.
why food is nice too, because it puts you in a good mood. But now you can say, okay, I see that you wrote on your piece of paper that I should get the mail. And I wrote on your piece of paper, you should get the mail. Okay, neither one of us likes getting the mail, apparently. How do we want to do this? And you can barter, you can trade, you can mix it up, or try things. We do this too, where sometimes something's not working right now and things change. So, like for us, we hate laundry. Both of us do. In fact, I've
Uh,
yet to meet a couple who loves it.
exactly. Who likes laundry? Let
Nobody
me
likes
know.
it. We made a deal. Like now this is our current deal. This could change by the time this podcast airs. But our current deal is she washes it, I fold it and put it away.
Okay.
So we have a pile in our room that I come and I get off work and I find a pile of laundry. While she's getting the kids cleaned up for the night, I fold it and put it away, but I don't have to wash it, right? So I put it in the laundry basket, she takes care of it. So right now that's working really well. But because of like what I just said, things change. This is not a once and done exercise. I recommend doing this on a quarterly basis. That's
Awesome.
what we try to do is we try to sit down quarterly and say, hey, what's changed? Especially with the business, because your business objectives change and shift based on needs, depending on what kind of business you're in.
Yeah.
So when you do that, though, you deal with these expectations outside of them being not met in a neutral ground with food, and you can turn them into agreements. You can barter and trade. You can say, hey, can we try this for this quarter, these 90 days, or monthly if you want to do it monthly? Can we try this for the month? I'll take the dishes, you take the laundry. Let's see how it goes.
Awesome.
And then when you re-meet, you can resync on that. And we've taught this to people in the business with our coaching, and it's been really cool to see them do that because they realize like one person loves to do this thing, but the other person was handling it. They're like, oh, well, you'll just handle it and I don't have to worry about it anymore. No, I got you. And when they turn them into their roles and responsibilities, especially based on their strengths and what they're good at, the business becomes so much more smooth because now we have clear responsibilities. But again, I do recommend it's not a once and done. So you got to do it a couple times a year.
Yeah, that I like that advice a lot. Especially because, like I said, I've been very excited about this because as a married person, I'd like to reference my own relationship. And I've like, ugh, what is something that I really hate that I recently delegated to my husband is actually getting gas for the car. I
Yeah.
hate getting gas. I've never liked it, never. So I was like, oh man, I really don't like getting gas. It just going to the gas station. Ugh, it sucks. And he's like, I'll do it. I don't
There
like
you
and he's like, I like going to the gas station. He comes out with a bunch of snacks every time. And I'm like, this
go.
is
Fair
great.
enough.
Seriously. And so I'm like, that is something I would love to do, especially like to put it in the form of having like a little meeting, especially in front of food. I love food. So
Well,
that's a
food
great
is great.
idea.
I personally believe all business meetings should involve food.
I agree. I
Oh,
mean, what does it make any person happier than eating?
yeah, hands down. You
There's
got to
some
be careful. We
people.
can't have like a bunch of bad snacks all day long. But yeah, I'm with you. What's
Yeah.
funny, you mentioned gas. That's actually been on my list for years. I handle the gas too. To the point, my wife ran out of gas just because it was a busy week, and she went and got gas, and she said, I literally got out of the car and I sat there and I went, I don't even remember how to do this.
Oh my gosh,
She
seriously.
had to sit there and be like, how do you pump gas? I had done it for so many years for her that she forgot.
That's an amazing thing.
I was kind of proud at that moment. Like, man, I've handled this. You got this.
Yeah, seriously, that's amazing. Like there are some things like seriously, and I always like to think of myself as like I can figure something out and I'll do it and I'll figure. Oh my gosh, just keep me away from the car. I don't care. I don't want to know how to fix it. My
That's
husband, the
fair.
last weekend, he tried to teach me how to change brakes. I don't care. I don't know, you know? And he was like, well, you never know what's going to happen. Like, what if I'm in the hospital and you got to change the brakes? I'm like, what is AutoZone for? Thanks.
I
No,
was just thinking they have people that do this for you, right?
no, seriously. So yeah, that's like great that that you guys are literally giving pleasing solutions to people, and it's not like killing people's pockets. I spoke to somebody last weekend, and it's a wife and husband duo that own a kennel business.
Okay, like
Yeah,
renting out dogs
yes, they take care of dogs.
or boarding
And
dogs.
they said at some point throughout their business, they realized they had to go to therapy. And the husband, which I find husbands are more kind of resistant to
Yeah,
get
I'm
help.
one of them.
Yeah, to then women are, which is, women are kind of like, yeah, save us. So I get it. And he was like, oh my gosh, like it takes so much money though. And I understand why a lot of couples don't do it.
Yeah,
And which is true. I mean, money is like the biggest problem that anybody can face in this
oh, hands down.
environment right now.
Mhm.
And so, how do you guys kind of address people who are feeling resistant to, getting that additional help because maybe, they're scared it's going to cost too much or it's not feasible, or maybe they just don't need it?
Yeah, for me, one of the things I always look for is what are we getting? What are we getting out of it? And if I don't get that, what's the return? I work with a lot of couples who have a service and offering a product, and I was like, what's your guarantee for your people? Some people are like, a guarantee? I'm like, yes, a guarantee. Like if you don't have enough faith in your product, your therapy, your service that you're not willing to guarantee it, no one's going to buy it.
Fair.
So, and then I'm big on the reason I don't like therapy is, and I've had therapy before, where I go in, we do this, and I got to have like sessions for a year and nothing really changes. And a lot of that was on
Right.
me. It's my mentality. Whereas with the coaching, the coach comes in, he's like, I'm going to do 8 lessons with you. At the end of these 8 lessons, you are going to feel confident in who you are. You are going to know and feel confident in knowing that who your wife is and how to work with her. If you don't, I give you your money back, guaranteed. And I loved that. So me and my wife made the same promise. Everyone that goes through our coaching, if you get through all 8 lessons and you're like, I don't feel like I got what I need or I don't feel like I grew, then your money back, guaranteed. Because that's how much faith you have to have in your product. That's how much faith you have to have in your service. That are you willing to guarantee it? Now, some people have different things where they're like, I'll give a portion back or I'll give something. Or if you're selling a product and it's defective, I'll refund you, that kind of stuff. My big rule is always you got to go to all 8 sessions though because that's what you actually get out of it is by growing and going through it. What I loved about like therapy versus coaching that
Mhm.
really got me excited, especially after the first couple of lessons, was it wasn't, hey, let's go through all this and here's where you need to grow and here's where you need to change and I was just like, oh, I did not want that.
Of
He goes
course.
through it and the first thing he actually does is, and we do this with the spouses, is he does not show me my strengths report and go through it. He showed me my wife's.
Mm.
And he said, this is how your wife thinks. This is why she's this way. This is what she's excited. And I sat there and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that changes perspective. It's not like a personal attack to
Yeah.
yourself. It's literally addressing how you're feeling, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
I,
you know?
I tell couples, like before you even do coaching or anything, start with something free. I know we give out a worksheet on our website for this, but go learn your spouse's love language. A
Yes.
lot of people have heard them, a lot of people have seen them. The biggest things that I have found, though, that we put in our workbook is like, I'm touch and my wife is time. That's our top love languages. So I'm like, I'll walk through the kitchen, I'll give her a peck on the cheek, and I'm good. I walked out. And to me, I was showing her love. But to my wife, she's like, hold up, buddy. That was like 1 second. Get back in here. Right.
Yeah. And
Things have
talk to me.
changed.
Do have a
Yeah.
conversation, which is which is honestly surprising that you say that because my husband and I are the same, literally the exact same. I'm time and he's touch. And yesterday he was like, "What's wrong?" Because I did not, address him yesterday. I didn't give him a hug or anything like that. And I was like, I'm mad because, I had to wait for my bus or whatever, and like he was like, but don't you love me? Like I could still get a hug, And that, yeah, I had to feel like, like I'm getting something off of my chest by talking to you, but I didn't take care of your feelings by not addressing your need for touch. And it's, sometimes when you're upset at the world, you kind of don't want to do the right thing, but it's worth it when you know how to do the right thing, right?
And when you have a strategy, I know this is just talking to the guys here. Some of the ladies this resonates with, but the guys that usually just when you have a battle plan, when you have a mission, when you have a strategy, you have a checklist, whatever it is for you, like how do I show love to my wife? So, and this is not easy. Imagine like you're outside the Kremlin in Russia, right? And you're trying to take a picture, and everyone around you speaking Russian. So it sounds kind of like the teacher from Peanuts. I dated myself a little there, but wah 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 wah. You're like, you have no idea what anyone's saying. It's like white noise. But as you're trying to take this picture, all of a sudden somebody yells, "Hey, come over here. This is a great place for a picture." You immediately tune in. You're like, "Oh, I understood that. That was English. I get it." And you immediately tune in and you're like 100% of your focus goes right there. This is what learning your spouse's love language is like. If I'm touch and touch is not high for her and I'm constantly talking in touch, she's like, it's nice, it's words, but it's white noise. But as soon as I do time, she's like, oh, you speak my language. I'm
Yes.
liking this. And so what I tell people is practical little things. So even for time, I have 3 kids, 2 businesses. We homeschool. Time is hard,
Mm-hmm.
but time doesn't have to be long. This is where I got it so confused when I was first married. I'd buy my wife a dozen roses, and it's like, ding, I get a point in the point system, right? If I buy her 1 rose, ding, I get a point. The amount didn't matter, the intent did. So, for example, we call it couch time. Works really well for time. And you have to train the kids a little bit in this. You say, Mommy and Daddy are going to sit on the couch and we're going to talk for 5 minutes, not long. 5 minutes. And this really helps when the husband's really intentional about this and the wife's love language is time, or vice versa. And so the rule for the kids is they can be in the room, but mommy and daddy are talking. You can't interrupt unless somebody's bleeding, dead, or the house on fire, right? Like, that's kind of the rule. This works really well when you explain it to older kids. We have a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old. The 10-year-old gets it. The 2-year-old, we're working on it. But my wife appreciates that I do this. Now, if you're touch, like I'm touch, right? I've learned a hand massage technique. And so when we sit down to talk, my wife will give me a hand massage while
Nice.
I spend time with her listening for just 5 minutes. So she gets fed, I get fed. Now, let's say your wife is acts of service in your time. Well, then the wife in this case, make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea.
Nice.
Do something for them. If they're gifts, bring something to it. Says, hey, I wrote you this little love note. I got this for you. It's just, and it doesn't have to be big. And that's where I got it so wrong for so many years is it doesn't have to be big. It can be little. It can be small. So my wife has worked on this. Now it's, like I don't speak Russian, right? That'd be cool.
It
But
would be.
yeah, like I don't speak Russian. But learning your spouse's love language takes intentionality like learning another language. So for
Mhm.
me, I have to okay, I have to spend time with her. My gifts is planning. This is something I learned through strengths. I'm good at planning. So I plan it out. I put it in the calendar. I put it on my daily reminders. Go spend time with your wife, right? And it doesn't have to be, but maybe a minute to 5 minutes. And of course, we do date nights and bigger things. Don't get me wrong there. But on a daily, for my wife, she's not touch. So it's not intentional for her. But when she walks through the kitchen, if I'm in the kitchen, she'll just put her hand on my shoulder. She'll give me a peck on the cheek, give me a quick hug. It doesn't take much, but I eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. And so it takes intentionality. So anyway, in the workbook that they can get from our website for free, there's a couple things in there too about what not to do. So for example, I just got to talk to the ones I am, like touch. I don't like being struck, even playfully.
Hmm.
And so, like an elbow to the side, I don't like that because my love language is touch. If you insult me in a way that's in my love language, it actually hurts more. If
Of
you
course.
are words of affirmation and somebody talks down to you, that hurts more than something else. If your time, and this is something I messed up a lot in my early marriage, I did it unintentionally, but if your time and you don't spend time with that person, they feel like you're getting avoidance, that hurts deeply. So
Mhm.
anyway, there's a page in the workbook that literally goes through if you're this, don't do this. If they're this, don't do this. Just little simple techniques. But stuff like that, like before you get into coaching and all that, when you just focus on trying to speak each other's love language every day, your passion and love for each other grows exponentially.
Yeah, that is amazing. And so, I mean, you've literally put down so much. And so you said that was the Gallup strength a free resource or a paid resource?
No, so a Gallup strengths test just to get the assessment for like the full report, I think is around 69 bucks is what
Okay.
it runs. If you're listening to this podcast and it's been a couple years, don't quote me on that.
Okay.
We do get a discount for all of our people. So if you can actually get it through us, we get you a discount. On top of that, we also help you go through the whole thing. We do offer a couple of things. Some people are like, I'm not sure if I want to buy a full 8 weeks coaching. I kind of want to try before you buy. We have plans for that as well, where people can go in and they can do just like one session with us, or if it's a couple, we'll do 4 sessions with you. So like we do one with you together, we do one with the spouse or like the wife to go over the husband's strengths and vice versa, and then we do one with you together, that sort of thing. And so we
Okay.
have some people that are like, I want to try it, which is fun. I love those people because once they go through it, they're like, I need more.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
and I don't blame them. Like I did. To this day, I actually go back to our original coach and I will buy lessons on occasion saying, hey, can I get another lesson? I want to learn more.
Which is awesome. And so right now I'm just trying to cover those free resources.
Yeah,
I know you have a little gift on your website that you guys have.
that's the love language workbook. Yeah.
Yes, the love language workbook. And then are there any other high quality resources that you can recommend to other people? Like I have, I actually have one. It's Divorce Court. I love Divorce Court. I watch it every day. It's like a ritual.
That's
It's
awesome.
like unofficial advice, but I don't know if I would call it high quality. It's kind of like trash TV, but I've learned a lot. So,
What I recommend people, if they just want like good daily, things that they put in their life, follow me and Alexis on social media. We have a business page where we do stuff together for the business, but if you follow us on our personal pages, there's shenanigans galore with wisdom littered in or wisdom interlaced. That's what it is. It's really fun too because both of us will teach like the same thing on our social media, but she'll teach it from her point of view, and then I'll teach it from my point of view. And so we've had some people that follow both of us, and they're like, wait a minute, I like it from her point of view better, which is fine.
that is awesome. Okay. And so we covered kind of that portion, but is there any, kind of common questions that people ask that you would like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, one of the common questions that we'll get is like when I'm having an argument with my spouse, one, how do I win? Then two, how do I
Sure.
not argue in the future? So back to the lasagna story, because I told you there's more to it. There's two more parts. So second to last part. When I was at work one day, I was in the break room talking with my boss about our favorite meals. Of course, I mentioned lasagna, and he goes, oh, my wife makes an amazing lasagna. I'll have her make you a pan and you can take it home to your family.
Oh,
All I could think was, oh God, please don't. He did. The next day, full 9 by 13 sheet of lasagna with the cooking
Um,
instructions on it and kiwi right across the lid. My boss is like, "Did you get it? Did you see it? You should take it home." And I'm sitting thinking, do I take it home and possibly start a massive fight with my wife, or do I leave it at work and disappoint my boss? But I also thought, and I'm just going to be honest, this may be the first time in my marriage I've actually had decent lasagna. So I took it home. My wife finds it in the fridge. She opens up the fridge. She sees it. She knows what it is. And she's like, "What's this? Food?" She goes, "Where'd you get it?" My boss's wife. I wasn't laughing then. And I will never forget what she said. She goes, "Couldn't get it from your own wife, so had to get it from another man's wife, huh?"
oh, geez.
Big old argument, right? So, how to win every argument with your spouse every time, guaranteed. And someone taught us this, and it was amazing. A lot of people think going into an argument, someone has to lose. A lot of people think going into an argument, happy wife, happy life. Actually, that just equals a disgruntled husband, is what it does. But when two couples, when two people can agree, or sorry, can argue and come out the other side stronger, there is
Mhm.
not a business problem. There's not a marriage problem. There's not a homeschooling problem they can't conquer. And so this was the mindset shift. It was called, honey, it's you and me versus the problem. You remember
Okay.
when you first got married and you're holding hands and you're in love and you look her in the eye, or he looks you in the eye and says, "I'll take on the world for you, honey." But kids come along, business problems come along, finances come along, in-laws come along, right?
Everybody. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then all of a sudden you're the problem. No, you're the problem. No, you're the problem, right? But if you shift that, and so in your argument, and we recommend doing this out loud, if you feel like the argument's starting to get heated or you're not agreeing, you say, "Okay, it's you and me versus the problem. I love you and I want to get through this with you stronger. Can you work with me to identify what the real problem is?" A lot of times, too, the problem's not what you think. For example, let's take this in a manager and employee standpoint. The
Mhm.
manager is told you need to cut costs. The employee wants a raise. So they come together and have a great meeting. You know how that's going to go, right? But what if the manager and the employee came with the mindset that said, it's you and me versus the problem? So they sit down and say, "Okay, I know you want to raise, and I've been told I got to cut costs. What's the real problem here?" Well, the real problem is the company's not making enough money. Because if the company was more profitable, they wouldn't have to cut costs so much, and the employee could have the raise. So the manager and the employee sit down and say, "Okay, let's come together as a team, and let's say, how do we make more money at this company?" And when you do that, you unite against the problem. You can do this in management. This works really well in marriage. And a lot of times, too, you have to sit down and sometimes you have to cool off first before you can
Yeah.
have a good one. But that's okay. Come back together and say, "I love you, honey. Let's come together and work on this problem together." Because I don't know, I've talked to a couple of younger couples and they get the video game analogies. And, friendly fire, when you shoot your buddy and capture the flag, well, you still have to capture the flag, but now you have to do it without your buddy. Fighting with your spouse is like shooting your buddy on the capture the flag. Focus on the flag together. Maybe you need to come back and re-strategize how you're going to approach the problem. But when you do it together, you're going to be way more successful than if you do it alone.
Awesome. Yeah, that actually brought a nice perspective to myself. And I'll definitely talk about it later. And so do you have any stories about that, like from other people? Any success stories about that kind of strategy that you share?
A lot of stuff in our coaching is personal, so I don't share too much. But what we do have is we have a lot of couples that usually the argument was because of an unspoken expectation
Hmm.
that wasn't met. And so when the problem, like for example, lasagna, right? I never told my wife I want a specific lasagna like the one my mom made. After about 10 years, I told her that. And so she's like, okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But an unspoken expectation is sometimes the problem. Actually, most of the time it was the problem for us. Sometimes
Hmm.
the second problem is too, is so you're not in your business. Like my wife especially when we were practicing love languages and I wasn't very good at it. And I'm like, why don't you feel loved? Why don't you feel loved? I did all this stuff. Why don't you feel loved? Because I was trying to do big things. And
Mhm.
she's like, why are you so worried about how I feel? Why don't you just worry about what you're creating and I'll work on my feelings in your creation? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. So I looked at her and I said, I want to create a better environment where you can feel loved. Do you care about big things? And she looked at me, she said, no, I really don't. In fact, I like the little daily things better than big elaborate trips or dedicated time where you have to get a babysitter and all that. She's like, I would rather just have 5 minutes of couch time every day. And I'm like, well, that's a whole lot easier to plan, right? That's easier. But you have to come to the mindset. It's like, okay, what's the real problem here? Where are we at? But they usually fall. That's why I share the other two first. The problem usually is in the other two. You're in the wrong business and you're causing yourself anxiety, or you have an unspoken expectation that you need to come down and have an agreement to.
Okay. Do I get to know what the last part of the lasagna story is?
Yes. All right. I'll wrap it up with this. So after about a decade of marriage, this was it literally was a while after we were married.
Okay.
My wife finally swallowed her pride, and she went to my mom, and she went to her house. She sat down at the kitchen table with her, and she reached over to the table and she looks my mom in the eyes and says, what is this coveted recipe that he loves so much? I can't seem to make it right. And can you just please share it with me? My mom looked at her with shock and surprise. She shrugged and replied, what recipe? I always bought it frozen from the store. I kid you not. That is how that conversation went. I didn't know that. So my wife tells me this. And I'm over here like, oh, I'm a numbskull. Apparently, I like frozen Walmart lasagna. That's what I like.
I wasn't expecting that at
I
all.
wasn't either. But true story. That's how that went. And that's how that came. And I always share that with couples because you've seen our struggle, especially with lasagna, because it's just funny now. But it's the simple things that went unspoken for literally a decade. A decade. We didn't really talk about this. Now we talk about it all the time on podcasts and share the story. Because if you can sit down with your wife, you can sit down with your spouse, and you can laugh about the things that you've been through, those disagreements, those challenges, those obstacles that you faced, when you focus on your business, turn them into agreements and learn how to, it's you and me versus the problem, honey, all of those things turn into bricks that you build your future together. And everyone that's listening to this, want you to know you deserve a thriving marriage, one that is full of wonderful laughs and enjoyment. You deserve a thriving marriage, one that is not full of chaos and disagreements and weeds. You deserve a thriving marriage, one where you speak each other's love language and you come together and rejoice with each other. You deserve a thriving marriage.
Thank you so much, David. I wish your wife was here so I could hear her version of the lasagna story because the plot twist.
Usually, when we get to do podcasts together, she's actually the one that will tell that last part because it's just funnier coming from her.
Well, yeah, I have to try Walmart lasagna. I've never tried it
It's
before.
not good. I tried it again years later, and what she cooks is better.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I was not a very healthy person when she met me in college. I was like, 32 ounces of Pepsi a day, 2 pots of coffee. I didn't drink water. I was very unhealthy.
Okay.
And my wife is very healthy, thus broccoli and lasagna, right? But after being married to her now, I don't know, we're pushing 14, 15 years, something like that. But
Can
she has changed my taste buds to the point I crave vegetables. I'm
very
like, I love healthier food now. So I'm sure if she made it again, she refuses to make it still to this day. But if she made it again, I bet I would love it this time.
I don't even know what to say to that, but okay.
If we ever make it, I'll follow back up with you and let you know how it goes.
Thank you. I would love to know. I mean, that's actually hilarious. I did like a beautiful story, so thank you. Thank you for sharing it with my listeners. And I'm sure everybody else's podcast that you touched probably had like the same reaction I did.
They
So
do.
yeah, I bet like plot twist of the year. I'm an avid reader. I don't think I've been that shocked by a book ending this year ever. So thank you.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I felt when she told me that, I remember the look on my face going, we have literally fought over this for 10 years, and I'm over here
over
liking Walmart frozen
Yeah,
lasagna.
Walmart lasagna. Okay.
Yep. I think it's called Stouffer's or something like that. But yeah,
Is it
apparently.
really?
Yeah.
Stouffer.
Yeah, it's not high quality. Like, apparently, I like the cheap stuff.
Okay. My last question to you before we go
Yeah,
is I would like to know how can people find you guys and hopefully get in touch with you, do some sorry, not counseling, coaching and like learn more about your content and stuff like that.
absolutely. Yeah, so if you want to follow us on social media, we are both on Facebook, Instagram, and we're both just starting up on YouTube, which we're really excited about. So
Awesome.
we're getting more content out there. So if you guys just want to follow, get some free content, we put out a lot of our coaching stuff for free and just give it out for free so people can be blessed by it. But if you're like, nope, I want more of it, I'm willing to, I want to meet with you guys one-on-one and get that personal touch. You can go to our website at davidandaLexisKiwi.org. You can also get the free workbook there. Once you download the workbook, it'll take you to a page where you can sign up and actually do a session with us, and everything will be there for you. You can always reach out via social media, though. Send us a DM on Facebook, and we'll totally reply.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Beyond the Balance. If this conversation inspired you, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Keep redefining wealth, rebuilding your future, and taking control of your financial journey. And always remember, you don't need a perfect balance to make a perfect comeback.